What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Clearly Distorted podcast. Well, we're not ready. We're not ready.
I am ready. I'm sorry about that. Tanisha just came in.
Oh, I don't know. I knew I heard something. I thought I heard somebody say "whoa" or something like that. All right, Patricia.
Yes.
Ready?
Right.
Helps when you're looking up.
What'd you say?
I said it helps when you're looking up.
Yeah, that's my word.
All right.
Clearly distorted. The podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Clearly Distorted podcast, where we discuss our clearly thought out ideas shared through our distorted lenses. What's wrong with this guy?
He's paying attention.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
Oh,
I'm at attention. I'm ready to go.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna start over.
No. We're rolling. We're
What,
rolling.
you don't
man.
want
We're
the
rolling.
people to see that you're like a drill sergeant over here?
Yeah.
Dame's like, yo, like it would help if you look up, Patricia. So I just wanted to make sure
Podcast.
Boots
I
on the
was
ground,
on.
Patricia. Pay attention.
I was on. I'm ready. I'm all alert.
Anyway, here we cover the week's trending topics, ranging from social issues, sports, politics, news, and much more. I am Damien, the devil's advocate. He is Julian, the morning and evening star, aka Mr. Enigmatic, and she is Patricia, aka she ain't all there.
She's
Good.
elsewhere.
She's here, just not all of us.
Elsewhere.
Just not all here.
Patricia elsewhere.
This is episode 30, and this week we'll be discussing seems to be no penalty for killing protesters for racial injustice. Federal judge thinks 18 to 20-year-olds should be able to buy handguns. Trump and more Trump, and Florida Senate Bill 718 dealing with immigration or trying to eradicate it. But got some interesting shit this week. But before we get to it, how are you guys? Crew is
I'm
back
good.
intact.
I am back. I had a wedding last week that I attended. My cousin, who lives in New York, came down and decided, of all places, to have a wedding in the Tampa area, which is where I'm currently at. And it was amazing. So much family from New York showed up and came. Cousins and family that I haven't been around in years, and the times I have seen them throughout, it's been at mostly funerals and stuff. I have a rather large family, so people die, and that's kind of when we happen to see each other, and it was just great to be at a joyous occasion and just together, laughing, listening to music, being silly. A lot of love, a lot of fun. It was just amazing weekend. We went to the Florida Aquarium, and we were doing breakfast and lunches, rooftop bar, went to my daughter's rooftop bar. It was just amazing. We had a lot of fun. And it wasn't something I was looking forward to because I fucking hate weddings. I hate the idea of a wedding.
Why am I not surprised?
Well, let me explain. So what I hate the most is parties of the groom and the bride get up there and they basically praise the groom and the bride, right? Just like, oh, he's so special. That's my little boy, and same thing. Oh, I went to high school with, Julian. She's just so precious. And it's like, fuck off, because you're both going to be divorced in a year. Like, that's really my mentality for most of it. So it's rare that I ever walk into it in love with it because I hate it. But, sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. And this was one of those occasions.
So you prolific hate weddings.
prolifically, I can't say that because I enjoyed this one. So there you go.
That was perfect timing.
But you know what I prolifically hate? Smart asses.
Nah, that was great. That was good. Well, it was obvious you enjoyed yourself quite a bit because the one thing you did a lot of that you didn't mention was smiling, and that's unusual for you.
Yeah, that's what every picture. I'm like, whose account is this? Is it an AI? Is it really Julian? I don't know. You looked very happy.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
was over the moon. It
Yeah.
really was great.
That's good,
That's
man.
nice. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
I felt like I was a kid again, just with my family. It was real nice,
Yeah, it really showed in the pictures.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like, who is this guy?
I know. I thought it was an AI. I was like, oh,
Yeah, Julian has teeth. What the fuck?
Sometimes life just puts you in a situation where smiling is a vulnerability you don't want to show.
I just thought you had threading. You know how women get it like for their chin or their boxy eyes. I just thought you had it in here.
I'm just showing off my Botox, I guess.
Man, oh man. Well,
That's good.
yeah.
How about you guys? Did you guys smile this past weekend, you fucks?
I mean, yeah, we do a lot of smiling. I think we smile and laugh a lot normally. But same old same here. I mean, business is booming. Nothing to complain about, man.
I'm good over here. We have elections tomorrow. It's the talk of the town. So we'll see what happens here. I might be here next Saturday. I might not be here next Saturday. Who knows?
Oh man. I can't even. I mean, they are that concerned about the elections over there?
I mean, I'm not. I have friends that are concerned. The embassies,
Embassies are closing for the elections. It's crazy.
Well, I don't know if the American embassy is. They haven't sent me a message, but I'm in contact with them. I'm registered with them. So push comes to shove, I hunker down here, or they come get me, or who knows?
Well, hopefully everything goes smooth.
What's up, everyone? So we're interrupting the normal scheduled podcast that we normally would do because there's been some updates regarding the NBA, and we figured we'd go over a couple of things. It is now Monday night, 10:12 Eastern Standard Time, so it's pretty late. The podcast is a little bit late, but it'll be on tonight along with all of this new information that we got, so stay tuned. So I guess we'll get into it right now. Daym.
Yeah, man.
Lots of drama going on the podcast or in the NBA. Sorry, lots of drama going on in the NBA, and we got to talk about it. We can't just drop this podcast and not be in with the news. So here we are. I guess. Do you want to start with the John Morant, or do you want to start with the playoffs? What do you want to start with?
Let's. I think we should probably let's talk about the playoffs first, because I have a feeling that John Morant is going to be a lengthy conversation.
All right, so we know that the Heat eliminated the Knicks, and
Right.
we know that the Celtics eliminated the Sixers, and the
Right.
Lakers eliminated the Warriors.
Right.
So now we're at the conference finals, and Denver
Nuggets
has been sitting
eliminated
there
Phoenix.
waiting. Yeah, they've been sitting there waiting for a little bit.
Right.
So I guess I want to start with the last series that just closed, which is the Sixers and the Celtics. And what are your thoughts on that one? Do you have anything that sticks out?
Yeah. Game 6, the last 2 minutes.
That should have been.
That book was closed. It was like something just clicked with Tatum, and he hit 2 threes, and that's all it took to deflate Philly. Embiid and Harden are literally walking up the court like the game is already lost. Like they already threw in a towel, and morale was shot after 2 3-pointers hit. And then that was it. You know, Tatum obviously continued to hit him, and they took the lead and extended the series, but that should have been over. And
in Philly, in Philly,
in Philly,
right?
without a doubt.
But then they go to Boston and they totally shit the bed for Game 7.
Yeah, they never came
So
back.
I got some stats and some
Harden
things
probably
I
had
wanna,
the worst game of his career in the playoffs.
yeah, following his best playoff performance probably ever. But I got some stuff here. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I was rooting for the Sixers, and I absolutely really do love Embiid. I love Maxey. I love the team. Harden, I think, is, I think Harden has gotten a lot of unnecessary criticisms, but I'm going to get into that. So let's look at this. Embiid was the MVP this year, right? He averaged this year 33 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. He shot 55% from the field and 33% from three. He was the MVP. This is what he averaged this year in the playoffs. 23 points, 10 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 3.9 turnovers, a horrific assist to turnover ratio. He shot 44% from the field, and his 3-point percentage was at 18%. So he was about 10 points under what his average is. Now, usually when we talk about great players, right, it's mostly what they do in the playoffs that, in my opinion, that really separates good from great, right? Or from great from legends.
Stars to superstars.
Right. So that was bad. Then we all know that James Harden, and I've defended him a lot over the years, but he tends to fade in the playoffs. And he had some pretty horrible games. Then you have Doc Rivers, who hasn't had the best playoff runs either. Listen to this. Doc Rivers is 6-10 in Game 7s. He has the most Game 7 losses of any coach in the history of the NBA, and he's never won a Game 7 on the road. He's 17-33 on potential series clinching games. The last 5 conference finals games he's lost. So 5 out of the 7 that he's been involved in. And then he's 0-10 to get to the conference finals. So when you add Embiid's playoff problems, James Harden's playoff history, and Doc Rivers, it was destined that they were going to lose, right?
Well, the Doc Rivers is exactly this is the only reason I was rooting for the 76ers. I'm a Doc Rivers fan. You know, he's a former Knick. And you know, he's had it rough in the playoffs. And so I was like, man, if he could just make it to the finals, like, you know, that would be, because I don't see Miami beating Philly. So it was, once they get past the Celtics, I figured it was a clear ride to the finals, and he would be redeemed. Like, all of that shit would have been off of his back.
That's the key thought that I had. This is the redemption year for the Sixers, right? This is Embiid showing, I'm the MVP now. I've deserved this for the last 2 years. James Harden, you know what? I'm not a piece of shit. I really do care about winning. And Doc Rivers, yo, I can coach a championship team. Last time he did it was in Boston, with the Celtics, you know, Garnett and all them guys. But this was the redemption year, and shit. So that was disappointing. But hey, Tatum had a historic game. He broke Steph Curry's record that Steph Curry just set against the Sacramento Kings for the most points in a Game 7. So Tatum, I feel like that was more front running because they were already well in the lead. But still, kudos to Jason Tatum. That was pretty amazing. So now Celtics go to the finals, and they're going to be facing the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Miami defeated the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a little bit of old news at this point, but do you have any thoughts, you know, on that series?
Honestly, it just comes down to what Julius Randle said, I think in game 4, it just seemed like they wanted it more. You know, going into this series, the Knicks were the leading rebounders. The bench, they had the leading, scoring bench. And in this series, it was the exact opposite. They were getting out rebound. The bench was getting outscored by a lot.
Mm.
We quickly was down, which took some scoring off the bench, and then just nobody else was hitting shots at all. It was bad.
I think Julius Randle played his last game as a Knick. I think he will be traded this offseason. I think if they can get a pretty good replacement for him, somebody who can give them 18 points a game, couple of rebounds and assists, or even if they
we need
land,
more. We need
or
more.
if they land a superstar, right?
Yeah, right.
I think the Knicks become really formidable, but we'll see. I think I was thinking
Some rumors.
The brain in my brain was saying to me at the end of that Knicks game and the Heat was
they were in every game.
Yeah,
as bad as they were playing.
My thought was the Knicks felt like they overachieved and they probably were satisfied with where they were, whereas the Heat were like, no, we underachieved this year, but our record is nowhere near indicative as to how good we are, and they tried harder.
And they've been saying that all year.
And they were right.
And to some degree, I think I felt the same way at the end of the series, because going into it, before the playoffs even started, I told you, Knicks second round, we're a second round team. A couple years ago, they made it. I was like, we're a first round team. We made first round, we're going to get bounced. This year, I felt they were a little better. It was second round team. And, at that point, we were thinking they would be facing Milwaukee in the second round, and no way would they get past them. But once Miami beat them, then, you got started seeing a little hopeful and thinking that they could extend it a little further. But at the end of the day, they are who they are.
If they would have gotten past the Heat, of course, anything happens once you're in the conference finals, right? But you would have definitely said, okay, they hit the ceiling, right? At least that's what I would have thought. Like, they're not going past this point. But
I think I wouldn't have wanted to play Philly, but I think they could beat the Celtics.
I don't think so. But
in regular season, they would. I know it's different in the playoffs, but
Celtics, I think they got enough experience to win the whole thing. I don't think they will, but I think they can. I never felt that way about the Knicks, but okay. So that's East Coast, West Coast. I guess we'll start with the Denver and the Phoenix real quick. Again, a little bit old news, but I thought Kevin Durant and Booker, unfortunately, I think they were probably a little bit spent, a little bit worn out. The playoffs, a lot of people don't talk about this, but it's really an endurance match.
Yeah.
It's how if your team is, and I mean the whole team, if it's not that great, then your superstars carry a much bigger load. And the other team can double team, triple team, can put a lot more pressure on those superstars, knowing that the supporting cast, and I hate that term, but the rest of the teammates may not deliver as much. So I think by that time, Kevin Durant and Booker were probably a little bit done.
It's not even harder when they've traded away the whole bench.
Right. It's not an excuse, because this was a team that was favored by a lot of people. Kevin Durant has consistently, in my mind, and I've said this about him before, he's a hired gun. He's a marksman that you add to the team, but he's not a team leader. I don't think he's as great as a lot of people have said. The idea that he's the best player in the league, I never thought he was. That's my opinion. I think Booker was clearly the best player on the Suns this playoff run and this year. And yeah, I just don't put Kevin Durant in that kind of space that a lot of people do. Great player when he's surrounded by great players. Also when he's not.
Cut it out. I think looking at the Phoenix team, they really we, I think, set the bar for them based on a team that had a whole season to play together. They didn't do training camp together. You know, it's a mid-season acquisition and then an injury. They didn't have time to play together, and then they had injuries in the playoffs. So realistically, and then they don't have any, you know, the bench. They had no bench really. That team was a dud, to be honest with you. I think because of the names and because of their capability, I think we boosted their potential falsely.
Not me, but you know. I'm just saying, I didn't think they were gonna do much of anything. I thought they were gonna lose to the Clippers. Like, you know, I didn't have that kind of faith in them. But I'm not gonna let you get away with this, bro. Can we put some respect on Jokic and his skills and his name? Can we put some respect on that dude?
I don't know what you're expecting to get out of me.
Yo, come on, man.
I don't like him, bro. I just don't like him.
I know you don't like him, but let's put some respect on his name. You know what I'm saying, man? Jokic.
He's good.
He's more than good, bro. He's more than. I don't know how a fucker that slow.
When I watch him play,
court, I
it's
don't know how he does it.
Because there's no defense in the NBA anymore.
Stop, man. Just stop. You know that ain't it, man. The guy is supremely skilled.
Okay.
You watched some of those games, right? Tell me you watched them like fully.
I did. It was painful.
Did you not at any point, even the game that they lost, Denver, when he scored 50 points or whatever?
I watched that one.
I was watching that and I was like, they can't stop him.
Yeah,
they can't stop him. He made Aiden look like a kid playing in high school.
I don't understand it. Because watching it, I don't see anything ultraly impressive. But the ball just keeps going in. I don't understand it.
With these passes, and you know,
he's a good passer. He's a good passer.
I feel like the same thing happened to Tim Duncan, where Tim Duncan would have 35 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 blocks, and it looked like he didn't do anything.
But I think that was more because of Duncan's demeanor. I think, you know, and the fundamentals, you know, the off the glass, and you know, his bank shot was the big. But
similarly, I feel like there's just no sizzle to that steak, but the steak is good. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what
I enjoyed watching Duncan much more than I don't know what it. I mean, I can't. There's not something I can point out and say like. He rubs me the wrong way. Just him, right? But as far as his game goes, I don't understand. I don't see it.
Put some respect on that guy's name. So anyway, now moving on, we got Golden State versus the Lakers.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a heartbreaker for me. So let me just. I feel like this was more of an issue about the Warriors than it was the Lakers winning.
Seemed like they had some chemistry issues.
So, start of the season, Draymond Green punches Jordan Poole, knocks him out. That film gets leaked. Then Steph Curry was out a bunch of games because of his shoulder. Then you had young players beefing with Steve Kerr about their minutes. Jordan Poole just not playing up to the standard after that. Draymond Green many times not doing it. And then Wiggs was out for a while, some family matter issue. So they're 11-30 or whatever on the road, atrocious on the road. And then they go into the playoffs. They get taken to a game 7. Steph has to have a meeting with the team right before game 6 to tell them, or right after game 6, like, you need the guys to be on board because, you know, we can do this. And he drops 50 plus points in that game 7. And that was it for them. I feel like the energy was gone. They maxed out. And I think they were a little bit too small. Steph Curry couldn't do it by himself. No superstar can. And nobody could hit shots, so they can sell out, double team, triple team Steph whenever. He had to become the primary ball handler.
Clay was having a horrible game.
And Clay, I don't know what happened with Clay.
And damn, he ain't stopped trying.
No, and the thing is, Kerr refused to put in Moody. I mean, refused to put in Kuminga. Refused. Didn't play Lamb. And those were arguably, two guys that could have helped them, as far as size is concerned or athleticism. At least on the defensive end. But he wouldn't do it because, of course, you have Clay. You're not going to sit Clay down. But I thought at some point, and at least in Game 7, they should have sat Clay down. He wasn't giving them the production they needed. It's not an overall reflection on him, but hey, let's try something new. This is Game 7. Didn't do it. What do you think is going to happen with them next year?
I think they're all back. I think Poole is out of there.
I would agree. I think they're going to trade Poole, maybe trade someone else, try to get another big name in there and give it a run. That's what I think is going to happen.
Draymond Green's going to take a pay cut. He's going to come back.
Clay already said that he's willing to take a pay cut. So, after his performance or whatever, I think he realizes, because initially he said that he wants a max deal, an extension. And I think he realizes that he's not going to get it. And if he wants to finish his career in Golden State, he has to free that up so they can afford to get somebody else in there. So he'll take a pay cut. So will Draymond. They'll get rid of Poole. That's a huge contract there, but Poole will do great on another team.
Yeah.
And I think they remain a threat next year. Now, the Lakers.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Poole goes to Portland.
Is that what you think?
In a trade?
Is that what you think? You think Poole goes to Portland for Dame? That's wild. I wouldn't want that. Dame and Steph fill the same kind of thing. How do you do that? What do you put both of them on the court at the same time with Clay?
Yeah.
They need size.
They wouldn't need size then. They would force teams to go small because you got to guard you can't double anybody.
I don't know if I like that, but I would love to see what that would look like. I don't know if I like that, but that would be the most wildest shit ever.
So there's rumors, of course, that Dame might end up with the Knicks. If he does it, I would love to see him in Golden State.
It would be much smarter for him to go to the Knicks. I would say that, but if he went to Golden State and he was healthy and shooting like he shoots, I don't know what the hell that looks like. That would be almost silly to watch.
Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, I don't even know how the fuck that would look. What that would look like. But yeah. So now I just want to comment on the Lakers. So LeBron James, he had a good series. He had a really good series. He knew how to pick and choose his spots. And I feel like Draymond's friendship with him compromised that a little bit because he wasn't antagonizing LeBron at all. They were almost a little too buddy. But LeBron really was able to pick and choose his spots, reserve some energy. But I think the real key to that series was Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
They couldn't drive in at all. That guy, if he wasn't swatting shots, he was making them take shots that looked like ridiculous because they were too scared to really drive.
He should be the key to every series. That he just unreliable because he's inconsistent.
Yep, and he doesn't really have the energy to sustain that for a long time. I'm surprised that him and LeBron have gotten this far. But
as great as he is, I don't know if I would want to. I would trade him, honestly.
Yeah, because he's unreliable. But
Can't
but
count.
he helped get him a chip in the bubble, if you want to count that. And they're in the conference finals now. Who knows what's going to happen at this point?
So my son's a Heat fan, and he's jockeying for the bubble rematch.
I feel like if it's Heat and Lakers, I feel like Lakers win that. I think the Heat is a better team, but I feel like the Lakers win that.
I think the Lakers win it if AD is AD for 4 games.
Well, Adebayo, if he could still play like Adebayo, he can watch some of the stuff AD does.
If Adebayo played like he played in that last game against the Knicks,
it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Boy.
But AD is definitely the key. And I think that's what helped get LA over that is
there's no question. No question.
Because otherwise Kevon Looney would have they had to limit his play. He was also sick too.
Mm.
And I don't think Wiggs was starting to become Wiggs again, because of the time off playing. He really wasn't, where he was last year.
Yeah.
I hope that they keep Andrew Wiggins and Gary Payne and DiVincenzo and Looney. I want them with the core. And then everyone else, I don't care what they do with them.
Yeah. That's basically the whole team.
Yeah.
But
they can get rid of Lamb. They can get rid of Kuminga. They can get rid of Moody. They can get rid of, they got some players they can move. Obviously, Jordan Poole. And they can get a lot for those guys.
Yeah.
Real quick, who's going to win? Is it going to be the Los Angeles Lakers or the Denver Nuggets? In your estimation?
Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets are going to win too. But I do think it's going to be a fun series.
To say that too, so
because you put a respect on Jokic's name. That's what you're doing, man. All right, finally, and Murray, Murray is,
Murray's a beast. Man. Murray's a beast.
All right, so I think we covered playoffs. I think that's everything.
I think coaching. I think we need to. Monty got fired.
Yeah. I heard that what team is interested? He is interested in picking up the Bucks.
No,
because they fired their coach. So I think the Bucks.
Mark Jackson.
No. Just before we got on the podcast, there's interest in Monty for the Bucks.
Well, anybody should have interest in Monty if they're hiring for a coach, but
that kind of bumps Mark Jackson out of the picture a little bit.
I don't know, but I was just happy that Mark Jackson got an interview.
Yeah,
because he's been blackballed for a while. So just the fact that he's got an interview,
and his commentary with the Van Gundys suck ass. So please go back to coaching, bro. Like I can't.
I like the two of them together.
I can't stand either one of them. Like they annoy me. They're fucking fangirls. Like I can't stand them. Anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that both Mark Jackson and Monty, get the nod somewhere. It would be nice to see them both. I don't think Monty should have got fired.
I don't either.
That was nonsense.
I think the GM should have got fired. That's who should have got fired.
Well, you're gonna do whatever you can to get Kevin Durant. So, most teams will trade for LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant. You're gonna trade anyone and everyone they ask for to get those guys. Like it's just what it is.
But how often does that work out?
It never does.
Somebody got to learn at some point.
It's not about winning at that point. It's about what the market value becomes for your team. When
Ticket sales and all that other bullshit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's always going to supersede winning.
It ain't about the wins and losses. It's about the green and the red.
Right. It's about asses in the seat and viewers on that television.
So
yeah. So
and
let's
Doc's
get into
probably going to get fired.
Oh, Doc is gone. I can't imagine. I can't imagine even getting past this week without hearing Doc Rivers got fired.
In the post game, somebody asked him, does he plan on coaching the team next year? That's such a
the nerve, right?
Doc says, I got 2 years left. What else is he supposed to say? Like, why you ask some questions like that?
Look, if
Assholes.
Doc Rivers gets fired, he could always get a job, as a jazz radio station host. Smooth sounds of Doc Rivers. I can't even do his voice. I would love to be able to talk like that. Imagine what he sounds like whispering sweet nothings to his wife.
He always sounds like he needs a throat lozenge.
He probably does. But anyway. So let's get into this whole thing with John Morant. I'm gonna let you go first, man, because
I don't even know. It's man, I have all kind of mixed emotions about this. I want him to pay the price. I feel bad for him at the same time. And just utter disbelief. I don't even understand it, right? Like, what is the fascination with being seen with a gun? Like, what does that mean? What does that you feel like that makes you? My mom used to always tell me about my friends. And even when I thought I had good friends, and she would be able to peep out when the ones weren't, so good. And she'd say, you are who your friends are. You are the company you keep. And when you look at his circle and the people around him, it's clear that they don't have his best interest in mind, because this shouldn't be making the camera to begin with. The fact that he has a gun shouldn't, like, if he's the guy, right? He's the one bringing the bread to the circle, then it's our responsibility to protect them. So if he's in situations where he feels like he needs to have a gun to protect themselves, then the 3 other people in the car with him should have had the guns, not him. Like, it's immature. It's just
I don't know his parents. I don't know Ja. I don't know any of his friends, but just from all accounts, even that incident with his mom in the shopping mall, she's calling him so he can go there and start a fight, flashing his gun or whatever. So it's apparent that his circle, whether it's his family or his friends, at the very minimum, aren't really too concerned about anything else. But I'm going to say more so than what the media thinks, more so than what the Grizzlies think, and more so even what the NBA thinks. John Morant has fucking kids. And they're going to see and know what their dad is doing. I don't understand this. I'm going to sound so fucking old. I don't understand this newer generation of hip hop music or whatever. A lot of it just escapes me, right? I don't know why he's got to listen to music and bounce around holding a gun. I don't understand it. I understand if you're an MC, if you're a rapper and you're telling a story or you're presenting an image, it's part of your brand. Yeah, maybe, whatever. That's your persona. That's what people think when they see you.
Even
but
then,
John Morant, even then,
that's the shit that leads to people like
right,
him doing what he's doing.
And it ends up ultimately, in a lot of times, leading to violence, right?
Yeah.
So John Morant, here he is. He's a fucking basketball player. He's a father. He's a role model, a real role model. He's got everything that, all the advantages that you can have. And I'm going to say he has to have mentors. There has to be somebody at Nike, someone at Powerade, someone in the Grizzlies. He has to have some agent somewhere, something that's saying, hey, Ja, you need to slow down. That's why as soon as the first incident happened, what did he do? He had that interview with Jalen Rose. You're telling me other NBA veterans around the league and former players aren't talking to him? They aren't saying anything? I hear it all the time. And I'm not in that circle. So I don't understand what his deal is, but he's a grown man and he needs to accept responsibility. And I feel like the NBA, they're going to step in over what the Grizzlies are whatever punishment they're imposing. And my prediction is that John Morant will be suspended for the entirety of next season. And it would be justified.
I think he's going to be suspended somewhere between 20 to 40 games.
Regardless, the consequences need to be steep, because if they let him get away with this sets a precedent for other younger players coming into the league. You don't think it does?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, if they don't put a stop to this and they let him get away with this sets a precedent for other young players coming into the league. They cannot have this in the league. They cannot have young guys flashing guns and getting into ridiculous altercations. And you saw it rub off on the team. This bad boy stuff that Dylan Brooks was going to do, the shit ain't cute. The shit isn't cute. The shit, pointing lasers at the Indiana Pacers and like they're pointing guns at them. Like you can't be doing this shit.
I think they made Dylan Brooks the fall guy, and now for no reason.
Well, he isn't innocent in that, but definitely
his
going to be the
behavior
fall
was
guy.
nowhere on this level.
No, but Dylan Brooks, before John Morant got to the league, Dylan Brooks didn't have that kind of reputation. So, whatever, I think Dylan Brooks figured, when he did that video where he had his hair out and he's, all up in the camera, I think he was embracing that villain role. It was more of a marketing kind of strategy on his end, but of course he's going to be the fall guy. He's not the star.
I just I don't know. I was talking about this today earlier with a friend of mine, and he was saying that he probably already has enough money that could last him the rest of his life, and probably enough to last his kids through their life. But he had the potential to make enough money to last through his grandkids and great grandkids' life, and that's probably not the case anymore.
I don't know. I still feel like John Morant can turn this shit around, clean up his image, and even if he loses endorsements now, he'll gain them again.
I think he's going to always be considered a risk. I think his talent will supersede that and will get him in the door. But I think the numbers on those contracts won't be the same because he's a risk. I think there'll be all kind of stipulations.
Well, I would agree with you that that's potentially what could happen if he doesn't clean it up. But if he cleans it up, I think there's still hope. Now, he is one Achilles, tear or ACL from never playing in the league again. Yeah. Because if he gets some major injury within the next 2 years, then people are going to be like, well, he's a fucking risk outside the court and he's a risk inside the court, on the court, and we don't need it.
And the way he plays, it's
possible.
It's like
Derrick
Rose. Like Rose all over again. Yeah.
It's like Rose. It's like Dwayne Wade. Mm-hmm. I remember used to saying Dwayne Wade to me was the fucking man in Miami. But I remember when they won that chip with Shaq, I was like, but that shit ain't sustainable.
Those knees, that shot.
It was not sustainable. I'm surprised he even won titles after that. Obviously LeBron James, Kevin Love, right?
Stack team there.
Ray Allen, but Chris Bosh. I always think of Stephen A. Smith. Chris Bosh, or whatever the way he says it. But yeah, I think of those guys when I think of John Morant as far as his game is concerned. And usually that's not really sustainable for a long time.
I think this is a time for tough love for him. I think he needs to learn. I think his circle needs to learn, because I think a lot of it is not necessarily that the people in his circle are bad or his mom and his parents, but well, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but they just have been catered to for a long time to where, these things. Do you know who my son is? Like, how dare you talk to me like that? And I think he's young. I mean, we call him an adult, but I mean, he's what, 23, 24, and he's never clearly hasn't been given that structure. So I just think they all are going to have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. But I think I'm not making excuses, but that's just the way I see it.
I understand what you're saying. I have a hard time feeling that way because I do feel like he bears the responsibility, all of it.
1000%.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do feel like regardless of the why, he's at where he's at, he's the one that's going to have to change it because he's the one that's going to suffer the consequences.
Well, I mean, yeah, because there's nothing to say after, this is not the first time. So it happened already. He got a smack on the hand with an 8-game suspension.
Yeah.
He didn't lose any endorsements. So it was suspended, whatever. He was handled very gently, and maybe he shouldn't have been because he clearly didn't learn the lesson.
Right.
He's going to learn it now.
And I got to say it, I'd be, I can't go past this segment without mentioning it. We have a major gun problem in this country. And we have a major gun problem when it comes to police as well. And violence in inner cities and mass shootings and almost suicides in almost every aspect of society, we have gun problems, right? Cop rolls up, sees John Morant with a gun in a fucking car or in a fucking club. What happens to him? You know what I'm saying? Who is he not aware of what's happening in this country? What is he gonna have a shootout with the fucking cops?
He acts as if he's untouchable because he probably has been for a good portion of his life.
Right. And that's a problem. We have a major gun problem in this country. And for the NBA, and the NBA has acknowledged this, with a lot of their charities and a lot of the things that they've spoken about, they can't just let this go.
Of course not.
And they're not going to.
At all. And, I'm sure Adam Silver, it's like a slap in the face for him. Like, I handled you kindly. You looked me in my eye and said, you understand, you're going to make the changes you need to make. Took a couple day vacation in Florida. Adam Silver's going to come down pretty hard.
Could you imagine having, at 23 years old, the opportunities laid in front of you like this guy has, and just botching that for what?
Yeah, no.
For what? Think of yourself in your 20s. As wild as you were, as wild as I was, think about yourself in that, and you have every opportunity in the fucking world. And you're going to botch that for what?
Even younger than that, exactly. I had better friends than that. I had, even in high school, when my circle thought, I was going to be able to, go to college and play college ball. And if that was just the goal, my friends knew that when certain activities, certain things was going on, we leave Damien out of it.
Even if you didn't have friends like that, you had parents, you had some sort of understanding of what the fuck is you should be doing. And from what I understand, John Morant grew up in a middle-class family.
Right.
We've had guys like LeBron James who came up out of poverty.
Right.
And you didn't see him doing that shit, you know what I'm saying, in the league. You don't see a lot of great players that come from, difficult places doing that. So for me, it's not an excuse for John Morant, even though I understand at his age and maybe certain sort of influences, it's like Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather, you know, a lot of different rappers out there. Some people just don't seem to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they always seem to be involved in some shit at some point. Hopefully he can get past it, because at this point now, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for him.
And the way things are going with the Grizzlies, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not on the team, honestly. Like they just gave him a crazy extension. Why would I pay you all of this money and you're sitting out half a season and I can't even trust that when you come back you're going to do what you're supposed to do?
I think if I was John Morant, if I was his dad, I would be like, that gun you have, you're getting rid of it, or whatever guns you have, you're getting rid of that shit. And if you need protection, you hire bodyguards that are not your fucking friends. You hire real professionals, and you go to your fucking games, and you do what you got to do. Like that's the advice I would give them.
But that's what I don't understand is like his dad's at every game.
His dad is like his buddy. His dad is like a friend. I don't know what their relationship is like. I don't know what his dad says to him, but as far as what I see in the media and outside of that, even when Shannon Sharp is at the game, Shannon Sharp they're almost getting into a fight with fucking Shannon Sharp. Like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is happening? I don't know. I don't know. The shit just seems like it's totally out of control. And I know some people are defending him. Some people are like, he didn't point the gun at anybody. He was just there. He should be allowed to have the gun because it's the Second Amendment.
And those people are the reason why he is where he is now, because those are the same people that supported him the first time he got in trouble. And what people don't understand is it doesn't matter what the gun laws are in the state, wherever the fuck he's at. He is a representative of the NBA. The NBA is who pays him. And the NBA says, we don't want that look. And if that's what you want to do, you're not going to be a part of the fucking NBA.
And same thing with Nike, and the same thing with Powerade, and the same thing. If you're part of an organization, you have to conduct yourself a certain way. You could be simple. He could even be a person that says, I'm for the Second Amendment.
Here's the thing.
Right.
He could still be doing everything, all of this shit that he's been doing. He could still do it all and cut the fucking camera off. Like, this is all self-inflicted. This is so stupid.
Social media shit, right? Yeah.
This is so stupid. He didn't get caught by TMZ or some stranger, driving by him on the highway. It's his own people.
But now they're looking for him so hard. He ain't gonna be able to do shit in public. Did you see the video? I did see the whole video.
It almost looks like his friends set him up. It's wild.
It was a live video on his friend's IG.
His friend's recording himself, right? And then this is how it appeared to me. He looked, he saw the gun, he flashed the phone, and then acted like, oh shit, and dropped it. If I looked and I see the gun and I already know what the fuck he went off, I'm getting off live.
But okay, your point straight. But here's my thing: why the fuck are you dancing in the car holding a gun?
I'm not trying to justify any of that shit, man.
No, I'm saying I follow you all the way, but then with the roadblock for me, it's like, okay, why the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've
never had a desire to do that.
Right? He didn't have a fucking drink or a fucking blunt or something. Like the fucking guy was holding a gun for what?
You and I have had a gazillion conversations about guns, and
it's a sick obsession in this country with them.
Your view, though I often disagree with your perspective, I think in this case you're right, where the gun makes him feel like he's some big bad tough guy, and I don't know, like the gun is like a superpower for him or something.
What's a bigger superpower than having a gun?
Millions of
money. And he's got fucking millions of it. He could pay people to just tell him that he's a fucking god everywhere he walks. He could have 20 girls just washing his balls in the morning. He could do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
Why does he need a gun to feel fucking powerful? That's the shit that blows my mind.
Was that a pun?
It blows my fucking mind.
No pun intended.
What?
Blows my mind.
Oh no pun intended, man. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, John Morant. I hope he gets his shit together, man. Yep. I really do. But that is going to do it for this segment of the extra addition to the podcast. Just full disclosure, this will also be put out as a clip, as its own separate video, but this will be, part of the NBA coverage on the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy it. This is our first kind of impromptu, kind of just throwing, I think our second one, video. So anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, click that bell icon so you can get the notifications when we drop a video. Dame, what you got, bro? Say it. Last word.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, Patricia.
Hey.
Hey, Patricia, show me like your mock cross-up move.
What my cross-up move?
She has no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
Anyway.
You guys are talking and I'm reading about Jamie Foxx.
All right, let's just get that out of the way.
Well, let's keep it moving. Yes.
Because I was gonna bring it up. I was gonna bring it up later. Like all of these outlets are just like salivating to be the one to report something on Jamie Foxx, and his daughter finally comes out and says he's been home. He was out of the hospital weeks ago. He was playing pickleball, whatever the fuck that is, a couple days ago. So let's everybody just relax. Jamie Foxx seems to be healthy, and until we hear from him and his family, let's just stop with the speculation bullshit. They've had this man on his deathbed like 3 times in the last month. He's home.
Yeah, and even if he is at that point where he's, really sick, like the speculation is what drives me crazy. It's like Jack Nicholson, right? Oh, he's got dementia. He's lost his mind. And this is what you've been hearing. He hasn't made a public appearance in 2 years. Then he finally is standing outside of some like little condo or something and just looking outside, and he's wearing a t-shirt and they're having all these pictures of him and he's lost his mind and how sad. And then he ends up showing up to the Laker games, and he looks, pretty much like Jack Nicholson. It's just like the speculation is just so wild and it's silly.
I think part of it is because how important he is to the culture, and what a
Jamie
devastating
Foxx.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jack as well.
Yeah.
But what a devastating loss it would be. And so I think that's why everybody's on edge, and every little thing they hear, they're just running with it. But
I don't think it's so much because he's so important. I think it's because they want to be the first to announce.
They want to be the first, but it wouldn't be such a big deal if he wasn't a big deal. Is what I'm saying.
Arguably, Jamie Foxx could be considered one of the most talented celebrities we've ever seen.
Entertainers, easily.
And I feel like he's hugely underrated. I love Jamie Foxx.
He's a great singer. He's a good comedian. He's a good actor. He's a writer.
Everything. What can he not do?
He does impressions. He
doesn't die.
So yeah, he's just one of those people where I think the idea of losing him is like, oh shit, we've not valued this guy the way we should have. Yeah.
I would like to ask Tom Cruise, what does he feel about Jamie Foxx? Just saying.
Why?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
I'm really curious now.
Because I said that he's probably the one that did something to Jamie, trying to kill Jamie.
Oh, it was Scientology. That's payback for Jamie Foxx dating Tom Cruise's ex-wife. That was her theory.
Well, that's a little bit wild, but
yeah. Same episode as Biden's stunt double. It was a fun one.
Julian's face.
I don't know what to say to that. I'm just I don't know.
Anything's a possibility in this flat earth.
Stop it. Stop it.
She's trying to get under my skin because she knows that shit drives me crazy.
The problem is that when people don't know you're joking,
I know.
You sound crazy.
Yeah, last episode, I gotta say, I wasn't here, but you were riding the crazy train hard. Like I was just like, what am I watching here? I get off for a week, and this turns into like conspiracy theory podcast, So we got to taper that down, Patricia.
She was trying to fill some big shoes. Yeah,
She definitely had me engaged because I was just like damn near choking on my drink and.
So
Anyways.
let's get into these topics, man. It seems that it's okay to kill Americans as long as they're protesting racial injustice. Case after case after case. Last week, we talked about Kathleen Casillo, who's a white woman, ran over 6 BLM protesters, Black Lives Matter protesters, and she got 5 hours of community service. This week, we have Daniel Perry, who was actually found guilty and sentenced to killing an Air Force member who was protesting police violence and racial injustice. But before the judge can even lay out his sentence, the Texas governor is out there saying, I'm just going to pardon him anyway, so it doesn't matter what you sentence him. We're just going to set him free. We don't have a problem with him killing people protesting police and racial injustice, so we're going to set him free. Fuck what the courts say. Don't forget about Kyle Rittenhouse. Same thing. Message is clear to me.
It's been clear, I think. That's why we say Black Lives Matter, right? It's as clear as day. And the Texas governor, listen, I don't know who's worse. I'm starting to think that the Texas governor is worse than our governor. I don't know. They're like right there with neck and neck.
Yeah.
Well, when you start, as the media tends to do, the right-wing media, when you start labeling Black Lives Matter groups as terroristic groups, extremists, then it becomes easy once you've had that narrative out for so long to justify murder, right? Because now, if you can convince your group of people on your side that they are the enemy, well, then it's fair game. And the courts seem to, especially if there's any right-wing elements to it, seem to kind of agree with that notion. A lot of people on the right tend to agree with these kind of things. And of course, any sensible person is going to say, no, this is crazy. This isn't right. But I do think that they've painted this picture to demonize protesters. It's like even what happened with Colin Kaepernick, which I know is it's sort of a stretch, but if you really think about it, right? He's blacklisted from the NFL basically because he was protesting. So if we can start there.
Wait, hold on. Peacefully protesting, which most of these people are in these incidents. So, it's outrageous, but it's what we expect, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you have people like Trump calling Black men thugs, calling Mexicans rapists and drug dealers and sex traffickers and, all of that stuff. It's just like dehumanizing us. So when we get killed, it's actually they're doing the world a favor, right? Getting rid of these non-human, animal, low-level people just because of color of the skin.
Yeah.
And
right.
We see it every single time when there's a sentencing going on. I mean, it's just like every single time there's a sentencing going, we always see the outcome of white and black, brown and black.
Perfect example is George Alvarez, who Flips his SUV into a bus stop, kills 8 people, injures 10. Immediately charged with manslaughter, has a $3.6 million bond. You know, when you compare this to like Casillo, who plowed into 6 people, she was released hours later, never charged with manslaughter,
Or
ends up with
attempted.
disturbing the peace, and gets, it's crazy. It's you can't make any sense out of it.
I mean,
Like,
it's hard to compare both cases because there's death and not death, but her sentencing, the sentence, it was a joke. It was like slapping people in the face. Like, I cannot even believe it was just mere hours. But again, we talked about this last podcast. She knew her privilege, right? They were going to give her 6 days, and she said, "Hell no, I'm not going to go with that." And people
I
were
don't
like, "No, you should take it," and
I
she
don't
got less.
I don't even think if you value all life, it doesn't matter if the victims died or not. She should have been charged with attempted manslaughter or
Right.
like
But
those,
someone will tell you, if they're arguing that case, they will say, "Oh no, 8 people died." All of a sudden they become important, right?
I'm not
But if
saying
the
George Alvarez should be innocent. What I'm
no,
saying
no,
is
no, go ahead.
the charges should be similar.
Should be, but they're not.
But they're not.
Well, there's never any seemingly there's never the rules apply differently. And that's been history. So it's something that I wish society paid more attention to. Even a lot of people of color just think that this is just even across the board, right? We all have the same opportunities, we all have the same rights, and we don't. It's I don't know how more obvious it can be.
I think a
true.
lot of people are used to not having the equality so much that it's just the way it's supposed to be. Like,
a black man has a gun in his car, right? Legally obtained, has a license, everything, and he's a threat.
Mm-hmm.
White kid walks in a mall with an AR-15 strapped to his back, and he's just someone exercising his rights, where the black person is immediately a threat. We've seen this play out over and over and over.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in white privilege, well, explain that.
Ugh. There's really people out there that don't believe. There's really people. I mean, I can see a white person not believing in white privilege, but what really drives me crazy is minorities who are like, no, there's no such thing as white privilege. We all have the same leverage and this and that and the other. That's where they lose me. I don't understand it.
Well, for white people, it's a privilege for them to feel like it's not a privilege, right? If you're going to be that ignorant about it, then inherently that proves
perfect example of your privilege.
Yeah.
Right, your privilege. As far as minorities are concerned, I feel like a lot of us have this idea that we need to stop complaining and we need to pull ourselves, from our bootstraps or whatever that expression is, and dwelling on that stuff is a negative sort of stereotype that they don't want to be a part of. Unfortunately, some of them are so blind to it or ignorant to it that it's just a reality that we don't live in a society that we really do. People don't want to accept that. They don't want to deal with it. So they tend to just say, no, I have the same opportunities as anyone else. And it's not the case.
The thing is that I've encountered people like that, and I've talked to people like minorities that they're like, oh no, but I'm here, I'm there, I did this, and I've gotten this, and I got this promotion, this and that and the other. And I said, what you don't realize is that you had to work twice as hard to get what somebody else just gets because of the color of their skin. And that's okay the reality.
It's okay to be prideful of that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you need to be ignorant towards what's happening to so many others.
Right.
And how many opportunities do the three of us, how many opportunities you think we've we've not been able to have in our lives due to, you know, our background unknowingly.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this in other podcasts where I'm 100% sure my name has gotten me through doors that I wouldn't be able to get through.
Mm-hmm.
You see my name on paper, you don't expect me to walk through the door.
Well, no, because they can match the name to when they see you in person.
Yeah, but I'm already there.
No, but they're like, oh yeah, this is what we expected. A white person coming in. White looking. Almost. Because
Wow, Dame. She's going there, Dame.
What?
Oh, they're like, this is exactly who we thought would come.
All right, Patricia. Yeah.
They see Damien and they're like, hey, neighbor, come on in.
Howdy, partner.
You're Damien, aren't you?
You're Damien.
Yeah.
Coming in, buddy.
Sometimes the look on their faces is hilarious, but fortunately,
I get
I've
it,
had a resume to back it up. But yeah, I've known other people who more qualified than me that can't even get a call back, you know, likely because of their name.
In my experience, if I'm going to talk about jobs, I have felt, I can say that pretty much every job that I have applied for that I wanted, I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
But I've worked in places where I was the only non-white person, which makes me think, did they hire me because I'm qualified, or did they hire me as a token? Hey, we have, you know, somebody that looks
because
like this, you know.
Your name is Patricia and not Maria, and you're articulate. So,
and you know how many times I've been asked, why do you talk like a white person? Wait, are you Spanish?
yeah.
Like, you sound white and you look like that.
Honestly, I can't imagine anyone looking at you and thinking you're white, or even
No.
and thinking that you're white.
I have gotten it so much, especially when I worked at the hotel and I worked in as a operator or whatever. I got it so much. I've gotten it from both sides. You talk white. Oh, you don't talk.
You know what it is?
How you should talk. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like an implicit bias more so than a straight up racism in a lot of cases, right? So, for instance, you ever encounter some white people and it's a little bit awkward until you start speaking, right? A lot of that plays into how safe are you for them. You know, if you're having a sort of welcoming personality, maybe if you talk a little bit like them, maybe if you don't have too much of an accent, maybe if you're not Dame, you know, exactly dark skin, you know, they might feel safer, you know, and that's, I think that plays a lot in like workplace sort of politics, because I've seen it. I've seen you know, very strong black men, black women, or Hispanic people kind of get ignored or kind of, you know, looked at, you know, they give them the side eye, and then you have someone else who might be also a minority, but you know, they don't wear it on their sleeve. You know, they're just kind of like, hey guy, hey, how's it going? And for a lot of white people, they feel safer with that. And I think maybe to your example, because they can't confuse you for anything other than a Hispanic woman, but maybe you just feel safer. Maybe in their mind, you're more approachable.
That's the first I've heard of that. I'm approachable. Can you repeat that again? Because I have family members and I want you to say how you feel like I'm approachable.
That's not quite what he said, but
that's what I want to interpret it as.
I feel like you're approachable.
Okay.
Man.
I usually don't get that. Usually people think I'm not approachable. Yeah.
Yes.
But, you know.
Me too.
Really, Julie? Damien, you seem so approachable.
Depending on the environment.
You always have like a really nice smile, and you know.
Like if I'm at work, then I make sure that I present myself there. But if I'm someplace like I don't know people, I don't know what's going on, I'm not like, I'm straight faced, I'm observing, I'm watching what's going on. And people are usually put off by that, Damien.
I don't catch myself, and I think that's a big problem for me. It's I don't I don't always notice how people are perceiving me that way. You know, so yeah,
Well,
that's been a bit of an issue for me throughout my life.
When I have a
Damien
lot
and
of
I were super shocked to see you smiling on these pictures, so you can
that should be a clue.
yeah,
I
it's a clue.
smile and I laugh all the time. Like I don't
just
and you know what's funny? Probably about 100 photos you guys have commented, "Oh my god, you're smiling," and I'm just like I did the last time, and the time before that, and
no,
the time before that.
you can't find 100 pictures with you smiling.
Yeah. I'm good. After the podcast, I'm gonna go count.
It
I
won't take
have the time.
it won't take long.
All right. Well, I'll save you the time. You're right. I don't smile as much, but in person, once you talk to me and you get past the exterior, I'm a warm, gentle, loving human being.
Yeah, I got along with you right away, I think, at work.
So
You are.
at least I try to be. So, but anyway, back to the topic. I think as minorities, I think we do have to conduct ourselves a certain way in order to fit in a predominantly white society. And as far as protesters are concerned, you're the enemy of that side, and a lot of the law agrees with that. And it's unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's tragic. It's maddening. And hopefully by the time my kids are my age, we would have progressed to a point where this isn't the factor that it is now. But unfortunately, you could get killed just for standing out there with a sign saying, "I don't want to be killed."
Right.
So yeah.
Well, if that wasn't enough, federal judge recently ruled that 18 to 20-year-olds shouldn't be blocked from owning handguns.
18 to 20-year-olds should not be blocked.
Currently, an 18 and up, you can buy rifles and shotguns, but not handguns. You have to be 21 and up to buy a handgun. And according to this judge, that is senior U.S. District Judge Robert E. Payne, says federal laws and regulations barring dealers from selling handguns to adults 18 to 20 violates the Second Amendment.
Patricia.
I am speechless. I mean, we've had like over 200 mass shootings in this year alone, and it's like I don't even know what we're doing. I don't even know the logic of this.
Me either. So I tried to like reverse engineer this. So I think maybe there's an anticipation that there might be a ban on assault, what we call assault rifles, the AR-15s and the AK-47 type weapons. Maybe they're anticipating that that's a reality, and so let's figure out another way to sell more guns.
Oh yeah, it's definitely think about it, right? It's the same idea of recruiting, young people for the military, especially young men, right? At 18 to 21, your credit, it's easier for you to buy a car. It's easier for you to join the military because you're more impulsive at that age. You're more ambitious. So, of course, if you take away the 18 to 21-year-old market, that's millions and millions of dollars they lose. Why wouldn't they want that? It's really, at the end of the day, it's all about money.
I just don't understand the argument how it's violating the Second Amendment, because that, like, at what the Second Amendment, it just says the right to bear arms. It doesn't infer any age group, right? So what's next? Now it's going to be violating the Second Amendment to keep 16-year-olds from having guns. And I mean, how do you, it just doesn't make sense that you can determine that 18 to 20 should be able to buy a handgun.
An 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 21-year-old cannot even rent a car, but you
Right.
can buy a gun.
True.
They
There's
don't
a lot
trust you. They don't trust you with a rental, but they trust you with a gun and all the ammo that your little heart desires.
I mean, you know, we've had this conversation before too, but you can to operate a car, you have to be trained, you have to prove your training, and you have to be licensed and registered, but not for a gun.
You can't drink until you're 21. It's hard for you to rent a hotel room at 21. It's hard, like you
Under
said,
21.
Patricia.
Yeah.
Under 21, right? It's hard for you to, like you said, Patricia, rent a car. There are a lot of restrictions and things at the age of 21, but yet owning a firearm that can take someone's life in an instant, it's fair game.
There's nothing logical about this. Like, there's no logical argument here. So what the motivation has to be something else.
Money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they just want us to kill each other. There's just no logical sense into this.
Oh yeah. Well, I've always felt that way, especially when it comes to people of color. It's definitely it seems like this is what the desired effect is, right? So
you guys see
US.
the interaction with Biden and the
that union worker.
The union worker. Oh my God, that was epic. Biden was really ready to walk this guy around the corner.
He really was. And he the I guess his manager or whatever, she's like, we're not gonna take any more questions. He's like, shush. Like he shushed her. Like if he were to have been the real Biden, no, I'm just joking. If he were to have been a couple of years younger, I think he would have punched him in the face. He was so hot. He's like, tell me where I said that. Tell me when I said that.
Told him, if you full of shit.
He did.
Man,
I love
that shit was great.
That should be used for his campaign.
You just reminded me, Patricia, maybe you should do like a parody. So instead of the Eminem, you know, my name is, you know, so you could do Joe Biden, you know, the real Joe Biden.
The real Joe Biden.
Instead of the real Slim Shady, yeah.
But
that was a great clip.
That could have something to do with, you know, this judge and all of this shit, because, you know, there have been, from what I've seen, just mentions of it. I haven't seen anything solid, but, you know, bringing back the ban on those guns, so on those weapons.
It should happen.
I mean, it happened in, where was it? Was it Australia that just had a mass shooting? And they did like buybacks, and they've implemented like a whole bunch of laws.
They went full out though.
Yeah, they made it fully illegal, and they did do a buyback. What Biden wants to do is kind of optional. Like he wants to have the buyback available, but if you're not willing to turn it in, then you have to register it. And I can't even see why that would be a problem, but people are having issues.
Ban assault weapons. Do a buyback program, and then anyone who wants to keep their guns, tax the shit out of them. And there you go, and have them carry like a certain kind of insurance that's pricey. If you want to own
I think that's a better approach
than tax.
You'd be required to carry a certain insurance. Yeah, I like that.
Which ultimately would be a tax anyway.
Same thing, but when you get into
I get it.
Yeah, I like that.
That would solve a lot of it for a lot of people, because at the end of the day, it's about the money, right? Like, no.
You choose to purchase a car, which can cause a lot of damage. You have to have insurance for it. Why not for these guns as well?
Isn't this worse?
I'm saying, I think it's
right. It's logical, but again, we don't apply it when it comes to
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff.
I think that's a
I
good
don't know.
idea.
Like I was thinking, like in Puerto Rico, things are pretty violent over there. There's a lot of killings and stuff like that, but you never see someone going into a grocery store, a church, a mall, a movie theater, a concert. Nobody's opening fire like in the United States. No one.
I don't know about that, Patricia.
What do you mean?
It's pretty rough over there. Remember the
That's what I'm
conversation
saying.
we were having off camera about age expectancies? Why do you think there's such a gap in Puerto Rico?
No, but what I'm saying is that there aren't mass shootings.
The reasonings are different, for sure. Our mass shootings here is because we have, quite honestly, disgruntled white guys running around, pissed off at the world. And in other countries, it's mostly about poverty. It's mostly about drugs. It's mostly about, gang wars and stuff. But it's not just some random person who has a job or is going to school and doesn't like the way daddy talks to them and they just want to kill everybody in the mall. Like, it's different.
This is going back 23 years. But when I was in basic training, there was a guy in my platoon who was a cop in Puerto Rico, and he would tell us some stories. He felt it was safer to join the army than to be a cop in Puerto Rico.
I mean, there's a lot of what do you call them in English? Projects that the cops will not go into.
Yeah, he kind of painted a different picture. He was the cops went in on a lot of it. The cops were corrupt as hell over there, according to him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of places in Puerto Rico that the police will not go into.
Yeah,
you resolve your own shit over there.
Go watch the Hector Camacho documentary, and they talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Yeah,
I did see that.
Hey, we don't have mass shooters. We just have single shooters.
So it's okay then. Oh man,
cleans it up.
So I guess it's that time is becoming that time of the year. Trump, and more Trump. I like singing that song. Hey, head and more head. Anyway,
you thought of that song when you thought of Trump?
No,
because I thought about dun dun dun.
He thought of what Luke's song, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do the Brown.
Just because I said Trump, Trump and more Trump. That was the only.
Well, you thought of Head.
That's the song, but when I had said Trump and more Trump, it was based off. It was like that was my reference track, if you will.
You were just thinking about Duda Brown.
No. Not thinking about Doodle Brown.
Were you thinking of Trump like singing like Pop That Coochie or something? Or
that would be hilarious. But I mean,
Pat. Isn't it Pat? Oh no.
That would be right in line with what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Pat the Puss is something else.
Grab him. Wow.
We're about to do a remix.
So, that should be a thing. We should come up with like 5 song titles. Trump's found liable for sexual abuse and defamation, and he's gonna have to pay a pretty hefty fine.
Not that hefty for him.
I don't think he's a fucking billionaire anyway.
Neither do I.
I mean, neither do I, but at least like do double digits.
Well, this is half of a double digit.
There's more to come. There's more shit to come. She might actually sue him again.
I hope so.
Really?
Yeah, because of his comments on CNN. Instead of him just stopping, and he's now doubling down on the same shit, and now there's talk that she's going to go after him again.
For defamation?
So, well, that's interesting. So the judge awarded her $5 million, $2 million for compensatory damages, $20,000 for punitive damages, $1 million just said damages, $1.7 million for reputation repair, and then $280,000 in punitive damages for defamation, and that totals $5 million.
He should have rounded up to 10.
Yeah, he probably ain't gonna fucking pay it anyway.
But
He doesn't pay anything
sure.
else.
But this is a win.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And if that wasn't enough, what was it the next day? Was it the next day? Next day, he takes his ass on CNN. And like you said, starts.
I think it was like 2 days or something like that. But yeah,
Like right after.
right after. Goes on CNN and he has a stupid ass town hall.
And yeah, he just started spewing and vomiting lies again. I couldn't watch much of it. I just couldn't take it.
He called the
I
host
did
a
watch
nasty
it.
woman because she was asking him questions.
I would have said
She was
Miss
fact checking him.
Nasty. I would have told him, no, it's Miss Nasty to you.
Miss Jackson.
Well,
Miss
some of the
Nasty.
criticism was that, she didn't fact check it enough.
I mean, how many this man he lies more than most people. It's probably hard to keep up with all of the fucking lies he tells.
Oh, my issue with this thing is CNN giving him a platform to begin with. I have a real problem with this. We've had this discussion before about influencers, and I think one time we had a discussion like, I don't like the fact that Bill Maher would bring like extreme right wingers on his show. Same thing with Joe Rogan. I know you don't have as much of an issue with it, Dame. Patricia,
No,
I'm interested to see where you're
I
at
did.
with it.
I did. I immediately was like, why would they even give him this time? Like, I just didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't agree with it. And that's how I felt about it initially. And then,
Well, Anderson Cooper defended it. So
as he's supposed to do.
Basically, yeah, of course. Basically stating that we need to hear both sides so that way we're not, I guess, in our own little bubble, which I have issues with him saying that. I think it's a stupid argument. But Patricia, what do you think? You think CNN was wrong for doing this?
I mean, I didn't watch it. I didn't care to watch it. It's same old Trump. I get what he said. Oh, he's the #1 candidate, and this is what we're going up against. Well, we've already went through a presidency. I don't think he should have gotten the platform. I think CNN doesn't care to inform the people. I think they did it because it was gonna, attract ratings and people talking about CNN and people talking about the show. That's why they chose a woman to interview him so they can say, oh, he called her nasty and da 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 da. It's just like, it's an old news thing.
I think it's obvious that the motive was views, but honestly, I would have expected a different Trump. Not totally, because of all of the things that has happened to him since he's lost.
Trump is Trump. That's what I'm saying. We went through a whole presidency. He was, that's why I didn't even watch. I thought the interview was just as predictable. He was going to say the same things. There's no regret. There's no shame. There's nothing, he is Trump. He lies through his teeth and he lives in, you were
100% right. And I was 100% wrong. I thought we would get a watered down Trump. I thought, he would try and curtail some of his behavior. And I don't know.
But when has he ever done something like that?
We haven't seen him on a platform since he lost the election. We haven't seen him since the midterms and all of that shit. Like, there's been a lot of anti-Trumpism going on, even within the Republican Party. So,
but there was anti-Trumpism even with the Republican Party as things kept going. And he's never shown anything but what he's shown.
You know what?
I think he's like now even worse because now he really has to reel in the people that he lost. Now he's going to come even worse.
Damian, I think you tend to, I've said this to you before, apply your own logic and sensibilities and think that other people are just, because for you, that would be a common sense thing, right? It's just like, maybe I should just ease up a little bit, just a little bit, right? Still be Trump, but just ease up a little bit. And I would agree that anyone with common sense would consider that, but he's just not that guy.
Clearly.
You know, but back to the issue that I have with CNN. So if this was about politics and they were reporting the news, it would be a different thing, right? Because you say, okay, he's, whether you like it or not, he's a presidential candidate. But this wasn't about politics or reporting the news. This was about giving him a platform essentially to attack his victim and anyone else who opposes him. Defend January 6th, insurrectionists and all of that stuff, right? And I feel like when you're a news organization, but you become the news, that's a problem. And I think CNN has become part of the news for him to, spread some of his propaganda. I think CNN is shameless, and they pretend to be blameless in the rise of Donald Trump's popularity. But let's not forget what's been happening over the years where, political issues would happen. This is before Trump became president, and they would bring him on the show to get his political opinion on it. And this is just part of that monster that they keep feeding.
I just, the only shocking thing for me is that they would have him. After all the shit, they both talked about each other. CNN against Trump, Trump against, what is it, the fake news network,
right.
All this stuff, I'm just like, it's just, they both knew, both the network, Anderson, whoever, the lady, everyone knew what they were doing. And
you think they were trying to cater to him to get him to ease up on them?
No, they're just as opportunistic as he was.
Yeah.
I think part of it is what we had talked about 2 weeks ago, after the firing of Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson, that the CNN has a new owner, and they are clearly going to play more towards the middle than they have in the past, and so this would make sense to me from what we're seeing already why they would do something like that.
Technically speaking, the middle isn't the middle anymore.
Yes, I would agree.
The middle is the right.
Maybe at the middle is not the right term, I should say, because because it really isn't. Because when you say middle or left or right, you're speaking of ideologies, but I don't think that's what they're is in representation. They're trying to have more representation from both sides, I believe.
Yeah, but they don't have representation on the extreme side of the left, right? They don't have people there who, like me, would say, ban all guns, get rid of all of them. They don't have people out there who are, these, what people would call like extreme feminists or extreme civil rights people, right? You don't see like, them bringing on, and I'm not even saying extreme people. I'm just saying people who are really on the left side of an issue or not, or like really on the civil rights end of it. Don't say AOC, don't say Bernie Sanders. They're not extreme. I'm saying like the equivalent to Donald Trump, but on the left. They don't bring that.
I don't even know what that would be.
Because
I'm trying to think of who that would be. Like, who could they bring that would be like that? I don't know. You?
I wouldn't even say I come close to that, but it's a false equivalency is what I'm saying. But I get what you're saying.
I don't know. To me, they talk so much shit saying, why are they giving him airtime, and then they do a town hall. But if you're saying that they have a new owner, maybe they're just trying to revamp and be more in the middle. I don't know.
I think that's what's going on.
I just think Trump is just Trump, and he could go to jail, and he can come out of jail, and he would be the same shit person and say the same shit things, and he will get the same shit followers.
This stuff is starting to pile on him, and I can't wait to see what else is going to happen. I think I'm hoping at some point something comes along that derails his candidacy, but we'll see.
I hope.
But CNN needs to stop that shit.
I think they're going to disappoint you more and more, bro, honestly.
Well, the fact that Anderson Cooper had to come up there and address it tells me that they got an incredible amount of backlash over it.
Yeah,
of course.
And he did say that they got tons of angry people for having Trump.
Because people are
That's a
sick of it.
complaint.
People are sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit. You know, like people are sick of, hey, you know what? This isn't a matter of presenting someone that might have an idea that might spark you or make you change parties. This is literally a piece of shit, you know, who's done nothing but piece of shit type things. And we're supposed to just, you know, be open to hearing him. No, like fuck off with him already.
Yeah, you're right, because you know
He shouldn't even be a candidate. He shouldn't even be a nominee at this point. But
even in all the questions, it's like in everything you hear, it are you prepared to say that you lost? Are you prepared to say you caused the 6? Like he's never given any inkling that he's gonna ever say it. So why what's the point in even those questions? But if you're not asking those questions, what is he even up here for? Because he's not going to talk about anything else.
And what are the answers to those questions even matter at this point?
yeah,
Right, because he doesn't have any integrity, so it's not like
right. And what essentially they're doing is they're legitimizing the idea that this election was rigged.
exactly.
Right? By asking him that and him getting up there and giving him a platform to continuously keep denying it. You know, there's no gotcha news in that shit. That's, oh, well, you know, of course, this is what he's going to say. And
she asked him, if you lose this election, would you say it was fair? And he was like, well, if I thought it was fair.
I mean,
that's the stupidest fucking question. What is he gonna say?
He's giving the right answer to her. She's giving a stupid answer to a stupid question. That's what I'm telling you. Like they didn't do it to educate. They didn't do it like, you know, if you know, it's not like, oh, he was good, now he's bad. No, he's always been the same shitty person.
You ever notice that Donald Trump responds to questions almost like a poorly written teenager on a TV show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't believe he is very bright at all. He's definitely not articulate. His vocabulary is very small. Florida Senate Bill 1718, having to do with immigration. Shit's about to get real funky in Florida for a lot of people. The bill is passed the House and it's passed Senate, headed to DeSantis' desk. All he has to do is sign it, and this will take effect July 1st, 2023. This bill will make giving a ride to an undocumented person, having an undocumented person in your car, will then be a felony, carrying a maximum sentence of 15 years. If you're undocumented, and it's the same for living with in the house, having one in your house as well. It's the same. If you're undocumented and you have a driver's license from another state, it will not be valid in Florida. The bill will also block undocumented people from becoming attorneys, including the DACA recipients who are already practicing law.
Wow.
If they need to go to a hospital, the hospital will be able to ask their immigration status and report it. So likely, you know, people who are going to need medical attention now won't seek it. And that's just them. The implications of what it's going to do to the Florida's agriculture. I mean, it's these people are responsible for 70% of the country's oranges, tomatoes, strawberries, beef, dairy, peppers, watermelons. Like agriculture in Florida is a major revenue source. And who do we think is doing all the labor?
Let's just destroy Disney and destroy Florida's agriculture.
It's crazy.
And there we go.
It's crazy.
Load everybody up with guns, ban abortions, and this is what we have.
And destroy education.
And destroy education. Ban books.
Florida profits $8.3 billion from agriculture per year.
See, this is like what we were talking about with DeSantis, though, and Disney. It's going to be hard to get that kind of support when we're talking about how it's going to affect the economy. even people on that side of the aisle, it's going to be difficult for everyone to totally support that. So I'm hoping that, there's more and more pushback, but this is absurd.
It's supported already. It passed the House. It passed the
it did.
Senate. And
I'm just saying on a national scale.
national level,
Yeah.
And then you hear these things like, oh, they cost us money, but they also, undocumented workers also pay billions of dollars in taxes each year. Like if they're getting a check, they're being taxed.
This could be considered like unconstitutional. I don't know if there's any lawsuits pending to try to overturn this. I'm sure there will be. Because it almost seems like an excuse to be able to just raid a Hispanic home, to randomly pull people over. Oh, you're Hispanic. I suspected an illegal, whatever. And there you go.
And then how am I supposed to know that someone's undocumented? Right?
Exactly.
Like these DACA kids, for example, they're brought here, as children. A lot of them were born here. So, you may have grown up with a friend your whole life. You went to school with, you don't know what their fucking what their legal status is. That's your friend.
You're renting out a room. What you gotta ask for proof.
Yeah, you gotta get immigration status now.
That's a built-in and automatic discrimination.
Yeah.
Because if it's a white person who you never met anywhere renting a room, you just let them in. You rent it to them. But now you gotta ask for paperwork because they speak Spanish.
I don't know what the fix to this is. To me, I just don't even see if they're here, right? And they're already productive citizens. They're contributing to the state and to revenue that the state generates. What are they hurting? Just make them a fucking citizen. Like,
give them a pathway to citizenship.
Yeah, right. I don't understand why make it so hard. It wasn't hard when they hopped the asses.
Because white people are getting watered down. White people are getting watered down.
You're right.
That's it.
You're right.
They're the fear that they have and the fear that they produce, and tell their other white people, like they literally say this is an invasion. It's an invasion. They're coming. They're going to take everything. They're not taking anything. You don't see Susie and Lucy and Karen over there picking on strawberries, right? So for me, it's like, again, I say this almost every podcast. You don't go out and vote. You don't get to say shit. So, this is what happens. And so then don't get mad on social media and start saying, oh, DeSantis this and DeSantis that. Did you vote against DeSantis or did you stay home?
How many Hispanics voted Republican and will now be adversely affected by this in Florida?
And you know what? Let me tell you something.
I didn't mean to laugh, but that's irony.
No, let me tell you something. Let them all go to jail. Get your 15 years. I don't give a shit. Because you either vote Republican or you don't vote.
It's really that simple. How many businesses are going to be affected? How's the economy going to be affected? How's the quality of our food going to be affected? How's all of that?
We only talked about agriculture. Who the fuck's putting up all of these roofs? Who's building up all of these houses?
Yep.
Who do people think of doing these things? The house that they live in, when they come up with these fucking laws.
That's what I'm saying. Like when people are like, oh, they're taking our jobs. No, they're not taking they're not taking your jobs. I mean, if you would be working on those jobs, but they're not taking white people's jobs. If
you hire people to, let's say, build a house, right? They're going to charge you for labor. They're going to charge you for the materials, whatever, right? If you have a bunch of people who are immigrants that are charging you less for labor and mainly, and the cost is cheaper to be able to hire them, that's an issue with the economy. That's not an issue with immigration. Anyone can do that. Daym, you have a business. You can charge less than your competitor if you want. That's your choice. You know what I'm saying? And I think the idea is that they're taking jobs in the sense that it's hard for Americans to compete in that field, and it's not. We're just fucking greedy.
And are we then, the white people should be asked for documentation. How many Russians go to Miami, go to Florida to have babies, anchor babies, but because they're white and blue eye and this, they just, get a pass?
It was not very long ago that was a big deal.
No,
they'll make an argument. They'll make an argument that it applies to all immigrants.
Yeah.
They'll make that argument, and there'll be one-off cases where they do apply it, but we know who it's targeting. It's targeting the Hispanic community.
They're saying, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read that there's approximately 10,000 migrants coming through the borders every day. Good. Welcome. Bienvenidos todos a los Estados Unidos.
And you know what annoys me too? Is how many Puerto Ricans are going to be affected by this. Because as a Puerto Rican, we are often confused for people who are here illegally.
Yep.
You take somebody who's straight out of Puerto Rico and they have a job like that, you're going to ask them for their papers. They're going to look at you and laugh.
What papers? I don't have no papers.
Yeah.
Because they don't. they're
detained now.
Citizens. Yeah, right.
Right.
Now you got to go through the process and you got to deal with the fucking
so
headache.
happy I'm not in Florida.
I thought you were going to say you're so happy you... Never mind.
She doesn't pick peppers.
I would pick peppers.
Peter Piper picked peppers and Run rocked rhymes.
Humpty Dumpty fell down.
Pancha plancha con cuatro planchas. Con cuántas planchas? Plancha.
I know that one. But peoples, I don't know what else to say about this, but the impact is...
The impact that it's going to have on Florida is going to be tremendous.
I'm glad. That way, I feel like I'm talking to my kids. Like, I'm glad this is happening so you can learn your lesson. I'm not talking about you guys because I know you guys vote, but I'm glad that this is happening so people can learn their lessons. That's it.
Your bed.
Lie in it.
I gotta lay in
So, elections are coming, so get your ass and vote.
I hope with all the things that's been happening in Florida and happening throughout the country, I hope that during midterms and during the next presidential election that people really are awake to this shit. But we'll see. We'll see. It just seems like there's been a lot, like a lot. And we'll see.
I am not so optimistic.
I didn't say I was optimistic. I said I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Listen to my people that are coming undocumented. It's just a small bump. There's going to be enough of us soon that Confederate flag that's on I-75 is going to be taken down. And, Karen is going to be Gotti.
The fear is, and you remember they've been trying to do this for years now, is stop the, if you're illegal, if you're undocumented and you have a baby in this country and that baby is born here, now they're a citizen. So, that's probably the next thing they're really going to go after hard again.
Well, I mean, that's the DACA program.
Yeah. But that's the fear. It's the more and more voters we create, little sick voters that they can't stand.
All these people,
hard it's going to be for them.
All these people that are coming from Mexico, and they're just coming back home. They're just coming back home.
Yeah.
They're coming to California. They're coming to Texas. You tell them go back to where you came from. Well, they're trying. They're trying to come.
I got a thought on that, right? So, technically speaking, are Mexicans not Native Americans?
A lot of them are indigenous.
I would say some, yeah.
No, if you're Mexican, technically speaking, you're Native American if you're a Mexican in this country.
I think at this point you would have to do that.
What's the premise here?
They are native indigenous people who originated in this country. California, Texas, all of that shit was fucking Mexico. New Mexico,
yeah.
that was Mexico.
Right. Yes, I
So
understood.
technically speaking, they are the
They're
natives of
coming
this
back
land.
home. Yeah.
Right. We
That's
never
right. And
call
so,
them
like,
that. We never think about it that way.
Oh, I
But-
say it on social media all the time because I hear, oh, they're invading. No, they're just coming back home.
This is their
invaded.
fucking land. Originally, this is their land. What are we talking about here? I don't know. I guess I gotta think about that a little bit more, but that's how I feel about it.
No, you are
Nah,
100% right.
I get the point. I just, it wouldn't be technically speaking, but your point.
Well,
stands.
because we call Native Americans Indians and they're not Indians and blah, 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 blah. But technically speaking, I think I'm right.
Ethically speaking,
Well, where am I incorrect on the technical aspect?
because technically, this is America. It's not Mexico.
But they're coming back to their land.
Yes.
No, on a technical level, it's because we changed the name of the land.
Right.
But
'Cause we took it from
Florida or New York wasn't called Florida or fucking New York when natives were the only people living here.
I mean, how many native names do we have in Florida for everything?
Right.
Wikiwachi? You think Wikiwachi came from Britain?
With Lakuchi.
I've never liked that name.
Yeah,
Tono,
no.
what is it? Tono Thasasa?
The Nota Sasa.
Yeah, that sounds very British to me.
Well, I mean, even in New York, we have in mostly probably more Jersey, but yeah, there's a lot of cities named like that as well.
So yeah, I think that that's what that is that Mexicans are Native Americans.
Music and movie recommendations.
What you got, Dame? What you got?
Two decent projects. One was pretty surprising. Posthumous album was dropped by Chinks, which I normally usually a posthumous album, I'll check it out. I'll listen to it once, but I usually never go back to them because I hate them. But this one was a vibe. I kind of enjoyed it. Good little summer feel to it. I was surprised. I definitely would put this on again, a little car ride or something, put the windows down. It's that kind of vibe. And then Vado also dropped a nice project. It was pretty decent. I haven't finished it yet, but he's rapping on there. I like it. That's
Good stuff. Well, so I came across this story about Michael J. Fox. And, he retired from acting. And supposedly, according to the story, one of the things that influenced him to retire from acting was watching a Quentin Tarantino film called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wow.
And there's a scene in that film where Leonardo DiCaprio, he plays an actor. And in the scene, he was having problems remembering his lines. So he goes into his trailer and he looks in the mirror and starts cursing himself out. And he has a total breakdown, because, he even threatens to kill himself because he can't get his shit together. He's a washed up actor and, and he's frustrated. So Michael J. Fox saw that scene and immediately reminded it of himself and something that he did as an actor. And that kind of made him say, it's kind of time to hang it up. So I was reading this article and I was kind of fascinated by it. So it made me think for this episode, the two films I want to recommend are Quentin Tarantino films. I love him to death, his movies. And first one will be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Love that movie. I feel like I recommended it one time, but fuck it, I'm going to do it again because we're 30 episodes in and who cares?
It's worthy.
And then the other one is going to be my another kind of underrated Tarantino film that I love, and it's The Hateful Eight. So if you're a Tarantino fan, check out The Hateful Eight. I would recommend the extended version and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Dope. And of course, we have the Wu-Tang Song of the Week. Still on Only Built for Cuban Links. And this week's song is, I love this beat, bro. I really love this beat. Glaciers of Ice.
Yes, you fucked me over last week and you did verbal intercourse without me being here. And Glaciers of Ice wouldn't be my second choice.
Wouldn't?
It would not be my second choice for a Wu-Tang recommendation on this album.
This is the third one.
It wouldn't be my third one either.
Well,
It'd
there
be
you
like
go.
about 4 or 5.
Oh, not 3, maybe 4. Oh God.
I like Guillotine, but
Oh,
you know.
okay.
But I'm sure you already did Ice Cream, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what Dame comes up with next week. That'll be interesting. Patricia, were you going to say something when I was talking about?
Yes.
What were
I
you
was
gonna
going to say that also you can watch on Netflix with Damien and I,
And
Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend it not for you to watch it with your kids because it's straight up like soft porn.
I was trying to recommend to Damien to watch Breaking Bad. Hence my shirt. But you don't want to watch it.
I said I would watch it. I said I would check it out.
Oh, okay.
Like episode 1.
In Nevuary, when are you gonna watch it?
Bro, I honestly I watch a lot of series very quickly. So
Watch Bridgerton Story, 6 episodes, 1 hour each. We can talk about it on next Saturday.
yeah, I don't
We
think
can skip basketball and talk about this next Saturday.
skip basketball.
Nick's
dare
out.
you?
He might
Yeah.
skip a few games here and there.
Yeah, I might not mind.
But
not
first you
discussing
got to get some
basketball.
coffee, bro.
Or sleep.
Yeah. So, what we got next?
Happy Mother's Day
Oh yeah.
tomorrow.
Happy Mother's Day. Or when you guys see it yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've done this 30 times and we finished them all the same exact way.
Happy Mother's Day to the mothers. To the mothers.
Mothers.
And how have we finished? Happy Mother's Day to you, Patricia.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy Mother's Day to y'all's mothers.
To your
Thank you.
mothers.
To your mothers.
It's that time, right?
That's how.
Quote of the Daym.
There it is.
Daym, what you got?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but life is what happens.
Patricia just started laughing. It looked like you were to me going to say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I got to take a shit. It's kind of
I'm
like
just like laughing because he's like, it's just like slow motion, like
a
I don't know who needs to hear this, but
I'm so tired.
Damien is talking whales. Whale, have you seen
I know.
Nemo?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts. I love that shit. I do that from time to time.
Well, you're doing
Talk
it
whale?
now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're
Yep.
doing it now, so
I'm fluent.
And that was one hell of a buildup. Like he had to take like a real deep breath. Like I don't know who needs to hear this, but
All right. Should we take this from the top?
Let's start it
Tippy.
over. Daym, quote of the Daym. What you got?
Yeah, man.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Sorry.
did he pause?
No.
Oh.
He went from slow motion to just a full pause.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Hope that doesn't go over your head.
That's a good quote.
John Lennon.
John Lennon.
quote. Peep the song. Watching the wheels. Anyway, that's a good
Episode
quote.
30
Love it. Episode 30
in the books.
in the books. It's nice to see all three of us here again.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll see how long that lasts, right, Patricia?
We don't know. Hey, listen, it's election day tomorrow. We don't know what's happening here. We might have a full-blown war. Or I might just be here on Saturday with, like, I don't know, an arm missing, but I'll be here.
Well, let's hope there's no full-blown war.
No,
and
I'm
you're
sure
back with
everything's
us.
gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Unless they
Yeah.
cut the internet, which that's a possibility.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. That
Well-
they do that here.
Well, let us hope not. But before Dame passes the fuck out, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and
Rock-a-my baby. Like, listen, it's 10 o'clock here. What time is it over there? Like 3?
it's
2,
3 p.m. It's 3
Okay.
p.m. And Dame looks like he's done for the night.
I could be. Man, this has been a week. I worked 14 hours just yesterday.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you worked 14 hours this week. I'm like,
No.
get the fuck out of here.
I did too.
Just yesterday I worked 14
And the
hours.
heat, I hear
Yeah.
it's brutal over there right now.
And yeah,
so.
we're peaking 90s and the humidity is creeping up there too. It was rough. It's a rough week.
Well, I hope you go to sleep
I'm gonna take a little nap.
until
Yeah.
tomorrow.
No,
It's weekend, Saturday afternoon, nothing better than a nap.
I'm gonna go lay on the couch and pretend to watch TV.
Put that Bridgerton.
I'm not even gonna try right now.
It'll keep you up.
Hi.
Don't
Doubt it.
watch it in your living room. I'm telling you, don't watch it in your watch it in your room.
We got teenagers here. We're all right.
Really?
Yeah.
You let your kids watch like sexual stuff in front of you?
I mean,
I do.
Depends on like if it's
Like a
explicit.
show or like a movie, yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Julie, when she sees the cover, she's like, "Ah!"
I mean, this is
is
like
it over yet?
Yeah.
this
something
is
that.
like old school Cinemax. It's really like soft pornish. It's not like
So it's just like nudity, no frontal.
no, there's frontal and there's back. There's butt. And there's
That's
boobs.
normal. That's normal.
Yeah, but there's no none of that.
I
know
mean,
what I'm
you
saying?
see,
Like,
they
there's no
do it.
penetration, right?
It's
I
in-
mean, they do it, but it's far. So I'm like, do I see something going in and out? Like I'm
oh
trying
my
to be.
god.
But I'm telling you, I could not watch this with my mother. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I might watch it just for the scenes, man.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's bad. I would not watch
My
it.
mom has been going on and on about this show, and she tends to be a good judge of it. So
Don't watch it with your mom.
But you're not gonna call your mom and be like, "So what about them sex scenes, mom?"
Oh my god!
You're not-
mean-
definitely not.
Yeah.
Listen, I cannot believe your mom watches that. I could not watch it with my mom. There's no way. I would just have to skip through the scenes.
Yeah, I probably
remember-
wouldn't sit down with my mom and watch this.
Remember the movie Sliver with Sharon Stone and I can't remember who the guy was. I remember I put the movie on and obviously it's like super sexual and my mom I was like, oh, turn it off. I'm like, oh, I cannot.
Liver?
Sliver with Sharon Stone.
I'm thinking of Basic Instinct. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh, it was with one of the Baldwin brothers. I can't remember who it was, but it's but this is pretty intense.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Have a good night. Have a good day. Bye.